think I'm on the radio. Hello.
Yeah. Morning radio fucking sucks.
Oh man, that's like one of the worst parts about doing the road. Is
do you do morning radio still?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You still do morning radio?
Well, yeah. Like most American clubs, that's like the deal. You fly in a day early.
Do the radio.
Then that's like a way to make sure you're there if you're West Coast.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have a show that night. You have all day to get there in case there's delays or whatever.
Fair enough.
But then you get up 6 a.m. Hey, it's Johnny and Smasher down here at Red Rocket FM. We're here with comedian Abbott Decker. He's working at the Chucklehead this weekend. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Were you the class clown?
And you're like, hi, I tell jokes. And they're like, hey, be funny.
Yeah. Be funny at 6 a.m.
Yeah, so you fly out. So here's the funny thing about that is like they're like, hey, your commitments are morning radio at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And then you have a show at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you do in the day?
If I'm in a city in the States, like I'll walk around, I'll see what I can find out. I like to do some local material about the city, especially if it's a new city. And then it's fun. It's fun because every city you end up having a little folder of jokes specific to that city, which kind of when you go there makes them feel good because you've now got a little bit about that city. And I've done that in Canada. So like when I go to Calgary, I've got like 5 or 10 minutes about
talking shit about Calgary.
When I go to Victoria, I've got like a 10-minute opening bit about the ferries.
Nice.
That they are like, yeah, we hate them. And then like Vancouver, I came up here. So I've got like, if I want to, probably like 25 minutes of local
riffing material
that I've had. But it's like, I love doing that. And so if I'm in a city, if I can, I'll try to go for a walk but I mean, sometimes they put you up in like a warehouse district where you can't really leave the hotel.
Oh shit.
But if it's a place with Uber, you can like Uber to a nice place.
That's the whole thing is you have Uber down there.
Yeah.
Up here, you get stuck in Evos.
I mean, they're going to get it. They said they're bringing it in September. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, in September?
In Vancouver.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry guys. JUNO award winning. That's how I should have started it.
Oh, okay.
That's how I should have started it.
Yeah.
JUNO award winning comedian. Is that how you walk up in every community, like every handshake? Hi, JUNO award winning.
I mean, only in Canada.
JUNO award winning.
Nobody in the United States knows what a JUNO is.
What the fuck is a JUNO?
They're like that Ellen Page movie? I was like, I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Who is JUNO? Where does that name come from? I'm so uneducated.
You know what?
You don't know
either.
You've won the
I think it's a
award?
nickname of the award. It's like Emmy was never really a person, or like Oscar. They're just like the name of the statue. The award, it's like the Oscars are the Academy Awards, right? But so the statue is called the Oscar. So I think the JUNOs are the CARAs is like the Canadian Arts and something award.
Oh, terrible.
And then the JUNO is like the name of the statue. I could be wrong about this. I hope they don't take it away for my ignorance.
We heard you on a podcast and listen.
We give it back.
Pay some more respect to the damn institution.
No, it was huge. It was a big deal for me because like, it was the first one back since 84. So the last person to win it before me was Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas for the soundtrack to the movie Strange Brew.
Oh my gosh.
And then it was off, like it wasn't a category for 33 years. And then we sort of, as Canadian comedians, petitioned them to bring it back.
Did you? Oh, actually?
And then when it came back, a bunch of us obviously applied for it.
Now that's back, I'll take it.
Yeah. We're like, bring it back. And then people were like, you should apply. You have an album. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I actually wasn't going to. It was very last minute that I
You apply for it?
You nominate yourself, basically. I mean, people can nominate you. Usually you get nominated by, movies and stuff, like with the Emmys. They all nominate themselves, or the production company
These
does.
Bastards. Okay.
Yeah, like...
I thought that was like not...
No, that's all it is. And you've got to pay. You got to pay to nominate yourself.
Oh, it's an institution.
Yeah.
These bastards.
Totally. It's all an institution. And it's like, it all spirals up. I mean, the amount of like inner corruption within these industries, specifically surrounding awards, is kind of interesting. Because, I mean, it's not corrupt. The JUNOs, that's like... it's just because like the people on the board who like vote for whether or not somebody should win also they're like producers and stuff. So like their artist might be one of the people they're voting for.
Right. So it's like with an Academy Award, who is a part of the Academy? And aren't they all former winners? Am I making that up?
I don't know how the Academy works. All I know is that it used to be way more like basically studios would tell them who to win because they got a movie coming out that year. That was why it was like one of the biggest upsets. I think it was like 96. Whenever Saving Private Ryan came out, because that movie was supposed to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, it's so good.
It's ridiculous.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's a classic.
And it did not win Best Picture. Best Picture was given to the movie Shakespeare in Love, which wasn't even in theaters yet.
Oh my gosh.
There was like 3 screenings, and only a certain number of Academy members had even seen it.
Yeah.
But they got like a preview of it, and then it got given Best Picture because of Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that was the kind of height of his power.
Wow. You're a historian.
Well, I know things that are in the news. I do whenever I go to a show and a comic does a joke about something, and I don't get it, I will then go and like voraciously research that topic. I think like all of my knowledge and history is just so that I'll get jokes.
Right. You don't
like
want to be the one
I have no
not
interest in
laughing.
any of these things.
Yeah, you don't really
I just don't want to be in the audience and miss out on a laugh.
Yeah.
Because
then the girl you're with is like, what's wrong with you? You uneducated?
Yeah.
You fucking
No, I think it's just my own personal thing. Like I feel bad if I don't get to share in that laugh that somebody worked so hard to bring out of me.
People do work hard to bring out laughs.
Yeah.
People work very hard. I'm sure you know a ton about that, but on that JUNO thing, how do you think? No, I'm not. Listen. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just saying, like, or an Academy Award or any one of these institutions. Like, I wonder how many zeros were on that check that got slid to whatever Academy Board or whatever it is to make those movies win? Or do you think it was just like call-in favors?
I think it's like favors and it's like people's jobs, and I think it's like, there's so many moving parts. It's not as simple as just like one person gets paid off, because then it's easy to follow the money, right?
Right.
It's always like, so-and-so's cousin works for this place,
right,
and they are going to get promoted if you do the thing. It's like...
That's one of those.
It's like 100 of those.
Right.
Yeah. Which isn't really corruption. That's just like the way society works.
Yeah, that's just business, man. That's not democracy. Actually, that is democracy. What the fuck am I talking about?
That's capitalism.
That's every fucking system we have here in the West.
Yeah. Like I've gone high enough up in comedy to go to like political and meet like politicians. Like you do these like corporates for like political parties, and so you learn how they all work, and it's all just like people helping their buddies. I knew you, I used to work for this company, and now I'm in politics, but I sit on the board of this, and I want this to go here, so that's why I'm running. It's like
because I'm an investor in this company.
That's all it is. It's all that. And I mean, obviously I'm simplifying it, but
and you're like, cool, where do I get in?
How do I get into this? I got suits.
I'm white, I'm a man, like I qualify. Do I need to fucking
Is there any room for me?
Yeah. I like it a lot. So you are now where are you now? You're not based out of Vancouver, you're based out of LA. What are you doing? What's your life about right now? What's day to day? What's the day in the life, my man?
Right now I'm in like a transition phase into the United States, right? Because like for a long time,
fully let you in.
Well, they have, but nobody knows me, right? So it's
right.
Like,
okay, all right.
You have to kind of establish a relate, because it's weird. Because most of the time, when you come up, like especially in Canada, people are pretty well aware of you throughout your whole creative process, from open mic all the way up to
they've seen you
headliner.
Grow.
They've seen, so the festival bookers, there's only like 3 or 4 major festivals in the country, and so they come to town once in a while, and they become aware of who the sort of bright shining stars in each city are, and there's not that many cities in Canada.
It's not that many people in Canada.
It's not that many people, exactly. I mean, I say to Americans all the time, and they can't believe it, that there are less people in Canada than the state of California.
That is a fact.
And they're like, what?
Yeah.
How is that?
Huh?
I mean, it's like Ireland. There's like no Irish people, and yet they're very. They got a whole day. So, but the thing with that is like in America now, I've shown up there as a headlining comedian. Right. I did not spend any time in the open mic scene or coming up. I was never a feature. I was never an MC. Right. I just came in. I'm going to headline. And that's, there's a precedent, obviously, from like overseas comedians. But I'm right in that middle ground where like I'm not famous enough that I can just like put out a tweet and I sell out a club.
Yeah.
But I'm good enough that I can definitely headline these clubs
and you can
not
show up
bomb.
And be a headliner.
Yeah. And so it's kind of learning where I fit in. And that's kind of the whole thing is basically going to every city in the country with a comedy club and having a first impression, going to that club, trying to blow the doors off, do your best, and make sure people come back next time.
Yeah, and hope it's okay and establish a base in each city. And
and like so far it's been good. Every club I've gone to, the manager's been like, "You're great. We like working with you.
Cool,
super fun." I mean, I'm not really gonna rub anybody the wrong way. I work clean, so it's not like I can't imagine how hard it is to be like a really dirty comic. If I was in my position, like because again, it's like people get to know you as a feature act when you're doing, but then when you come into like a brand new club, like I went to a club in Lincoln, Nebraska, where like everybody was quite churchy. Yeah. But I was like, it's no problem. Yeah. All I do is talk about Subway. It's fine. But if I was like a dirty comic, I can't imagine how hard that would be.
Yeah, like if you're like a Joey Diaz and you go into that fucking town in Nebraska.
Yeah, exactly. God. You're like, okay, here we go. Because you're also there for 3 days. It's not like it's one and done. Like if you are terrible on the Thursday, it's like you got 2 more nights of this. Yeah. So you better
fucking figure it out.
But there are stories of like, people show up on Thursday as a headliner and by Saturday night they're doing 5 minutes and it's like, get the fuck out of here.
No way.
We're not paying you. Like you can get demoted or fired. Like it doesn't happen often, but it's definitely a fear I have.
Oh my gosh. That's so savage. Showing up on a Thursday and be like, this crowd sucks.
Yeah. But it's been nice. Like most of the clubs I've gone have had pretty good numbers, which is cool. Because normally when you're new, they don't exactly know how to promote or over push you. And so I've had a few shows that are like kind of light, but not. I mean, we've never had to cancel any because nobody showed up.
That's a plus.
So that's pretty good. I mean, I was up against the Super Bowl when I was in. Where was I? Des Moines. Iowa. It's like really close to Kansas City.
Right.
And sorry, it wasn't the Super Bowl, it was the semifinals. And so the Kansas City was in it. Yeah. And so they're full of Kansas City fans.
And
so there was like 20 people at the club. But then the nice thing is like they want to see comedy. They've made a conscious decision not to go there, football.
Not to go to all the Super Bowl parties, the football parties.
Which is why I always think when something like that's going on and comics on stage will talk about it. Like it's like, I used to work all the time at the Comedy Mix before it closed in the West End. Mm-hmm. And you'd go on fireworks nights, and that's when like downtown Vancouver is slammed with people. But there would still be some people that would come to the comedy club to avoid the whole fireworks bullshit. But there would still be comics on stage being like, "Hey, you guys don't like fireworks?" It's like, we chose not. Yeah. We chose this. Do this. Do the comedy. Yeah. Don't remind me that fireworks is
Shut
here.
The fuck up.
I came to escape it.
I don't care at all.
Yeah.
What's up with the Comedy Mix, man?
It closed.
What?
I know. It's really too bad because that's the club I started in.
That's where a lot of people started in.
Yeah. And I loved that club so much. They were so good to me. They gave me like all of my first everything.
Oh my gosh.
It's like your first headline. Yeah, Aww. Sure. It's like my first girlfriend's dad that bought me a car. No, it was like, a really great location. But, Vancouver real estate. Blah,
Is that
blah, blah.
what it was?
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. So they're looking for a new location, and hopefully they'll have something.
Oh my God.
Which we're all waiting for.
Because now there's like fucking one club in town.
Yeah, there's Yuck Yucks, and they're pretty good. Yeah. They do a good job.
But there's still that's.
Yeah, but there's so many comics. I mean, there's more comics than there are stages any given night.
Yes,
so.
Of course. So you're fighting.
Yeah.
So the open mics get better, I guess.
Yeah, sort of.
Not really.
Yeah.
Do they just go home? No, they move. The comics move. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we moved to LA or Toronto.
Like, you fucking sellouts. God damn it.
I live there to maintain my green card.
Nice.
So that I can work in the United States. But, I mean, obviously, if I had the option, I would live here and just work there.
Really? So if theoretically speaking, Vancouver had the comedy scene that LA has. You'd be here.
I'd be here anyway.
Really?
The LA comedy scene is very weird and difficult.
Why?
Like, it's great.
Why would you say that?
But because everybody there works in entertainment. So it's like doing magic for magicians. Like, nobody's not looking at you through a different lens.
Right.
You know, very rarely you're going to get the person who doesn't understand the business. They don't see the wires. Like, ideal comedy audience is just people that are like, they work a regular job, they want to laugh, they come in.
Babe, what are we doing tonight? Going to comedy.
Maybe they're familiar enough with comedy to get what you do, but you don't want them to be like too aware of the way it works.
Because then they get all the setups and shit.
Yeah, or that, or it's just like they just watch you with a different way, or they don't laugh as much because they can see it coming. So it's like they don't really give it up. That's not to say that never happens in LA, but it's just like you run into it a lot more. And certainly when you're starting out there, you're doing a lot of shows where it's mostly just comics in the crowd.
Right, which sucks. And you're constantly dissected, like, and it's like constantly. And like, but on the same note, I mean, that's the best. I mean, iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and so that's what you want to be. You want to be on shows with people who are the best of the best, which I am lucky enough to get to do when I perform at the clubs down there.
Who's the worst person you followed? And when I say the worst, I mean the best. Like, who's the worst person to follow on a crowd? But
I don't like, like I hate following people who crush.
Right.
But also at the same time, I love it because it makes me better. So it's that kind of like, I hate it right now. Yeah. But it's good. It's always good.
Yeah, it's like running.
It's always good to follow people. There's a guy in LA that I actually quite like. He's a friend of mine. His name's Chris Turner. And he is a freestyle rapper from the UK.
Gangster.
He's awesome. He's so fucking good. But he's like Oxford educated, so it's very funny.
Ooh.
So he does stand-up. He seems very proper and British.
Right.
So nobody expects him to be able to do it. And so he'll go up and in his set, he'll ask for suggestions from the crowd. And he never takes the same suggestion twice. So if somebody yells out something he's done before, he won't do it because that would be cheating.
Yeah. Wow.
And he'll take 4 words out of the crowd. And then he has a beat that gets played, and then he rhymes. Goes. He does like a 3 or 4 minute rap that is awesome every time and just melts the room. And then he's just like, all right, see you later. And then you have to come out and be like, hey.
So I don't rap.
Pizza. Sometimes it's no good.
Subway, what's up with those tomatoes? They're always frozen. Yeah, super. Who's actually the person that you're like, you in a situation you walk up or you go to the club, do you look on a list?
Yeah, there's usually a list.
Do you know beforehand?
Yeah, you can tell. Like usually, I mean, the club I work at a lot is the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, and so they've been around since the 70s. Like they're one of the oldest. Jay Leno has a residency there every Sunday night. Like,
oh shit,
it's awesome. So I've gotten to work with him a couple times, and it's pretty crazy to be like on the same show as these people who are like Kathy Ladman
legends,
is incredible. Legends, like nonstop legends. Larry Miller, Paul Reiser comes down, Rob Schneider I've worked with. So it's like these are all the top comics.
Performers in the world.
Exactly. And so you generally you can see the list. And usually there's no MC on like the Friday, Saturdays. They just do like 10 comics.
Wow.
And so you just introduce whoever's coming up after you.
Wow.
And it's also called the Comedy Magic Club, so they do have variety acts as well. So they have jugglers or magicians that are like also amazing. Oh. And so following them is like a bit of a challenge too.
So I just talk and he's flaming knives.
But I've followed a guy. There's a guy there. His name is also Ivan, which is very funny because we're 2 people named Ivan, which is very rare to have just like 2 Ivans that are not Russian.
Right.
His name's Ivan Paisel, one of the best jugglers I've ever seen in my life. But he's very fit, and so I was following him on a couple shows, and he would finish. They love him obviously because he's great, but he's also quite fit, so I could use that to go right into gym material.
Yeah.
Right. And so as long as you can springboard off it, as long as you acknowledge whatever happened ahead of you, you can follow anybody. Like the whole idea of like I can't follow this person. Just give them. You just have to pretend it happened. The biggest mistake people make when they're trying to follow somebody is just acting like what happened didn't happen. Like, just come out and be like, all right, guys, it's my turn. It's like, no, say like, hey, wow, that was great. How about another round of applause for Paul Reiser?
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah. Give it up for fucking
And then they'll be
Jay
like,
Leno.
yeah, great. Yeah. Cool. And then you're like,
he
all
was
right.
the best.
Yeah.
Now here's this other fucking Canadian. Like, or this like, what the hell?
Here's me.
Yeah. Hi.
I also have jokes. And usually it's fine. Usually crowds are like, yeah. And you can, I mean, that's what's good is those guys and girls, they make you work harder. They make you step your game up.
I don't like. I listen. I hear you, and I'm not disagreeing with you, man. Like, I completely understand. But like, if you're following like Jay fucking Leno or like, like you could probably go down. Like, you'll run into like a Dave Chappelle or a Joe Rogan at some point and be like, oh well, fuck, here we go. Yeah. Like, you just in being in the position that you are, like, you just kind of sliding into that headliner spot as an unknown Canadian in LA and just kind of going down there and just being like, any night I could run into a Titan. Yeah. And be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's crazy. So sometimes you got to follow them. Sometimes they bump you. Sometimes you got to go on before them, and then no one remembers you. No. Yeah, they went there and they saw. You have a great set. Sometimes you're like, ah, man, what a set. And then like, somebody, Bill Burr walks in and you're like, oh, well. Yeah. Nobody's going to remember me tonight. Yeah. There was another white guy, but whatever. Bill Burr was there. He wasn't nearly as fucking angry. Yeah. Or redheaded. Or redheaded at all. So what's that I always wonder what that conversation is like when a promoter or when a club manager comes up to you and says, hey, Ivan, so Bill's here tonight and he's gonna take your spot. Is that okay? Like, what is that if a headliner just comes in and is like, yeah, it doesn't really happen that often for me. Like, it's only happened a few times, but I'm fine with it. They're like, really? Oh yeah, usually they are nice enough to arrange it ahead of time. Okay. If anybody pops in to purposely bump people, it's usually like a power move. Like, they're doing it to do it. Yeah. You know? Like, it doesn't take much to just call the club and go, hey, I'm going to come down tonight. Yeah. And so the club can then organize. But, sometimes people go long, and that's when stuff has to get shuffled. Yeah. So I've never been, like, bumped, but I've had my time cut. Like, when I'm supposed to do 25 minutes, they'll be like, hey, so-and-so did 30, you're supposed to do 15. So if you could do 5 to 10 instead of 25, that'd be cool. Damn. And you still get the money for the 25, so it doesn't matter. I don't care. Yeah. Yeah. That's so tough, man. So athletes down there, or athletes in general, if they're going up in the league or they're playing any type of sport, they train. Yeah. And they run track and they lift weights and they practice their skills. How the hell do you keep your knife sharp? Like, if you're going up against these people, you're constantly in the spotlight, you're constantly doing shows. How do you, like, what's practice for you? I don't understand how you, like, stay on top of your game. Yeah, it is weird because comedy is one of the only things that it kind of has to be practiced live. Right. The only thing you can do is hang out with other comedians. Nice. Like, I feel like, you get reps in just by like having lunch with a comic and then riffing and talk. I mean, it's funny because you have to kind of make sure it stays on that topic because it's all too easy to sort of fall off and just start complaining about the industry or bitching about who's getting what or whatever. But that's not productive. Like, if I'm having lunch with another comedian, I want to talk about jokes and I want to try to riff and just stay sharp, stay funny. And then also the other side of it is the homework, the writing. Right. So you have to sit down and do your pages every day. You kind of do like, fill 3 blank pages with something. Doesn't have to be funny, just have to do it, or write for an hour. Like, get up. So I sort of the way I do it is I get up and I exercise and then I'll have breakfast. If you want to really break it down. Okay. I have the same thing for breakfast every day because that helps me not have to think about that. Right. So I get up, have breakfast, go exercise. What do you have for breakfast? You just do I have one thing. Yeah, I have oatmeal. And I have like a Vega shake and then I have a coffee and then maybe a yogurt if it depends. Oh, bro. If I'm gonna hit weights, if it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Go. I mean, you can look at me and understand that this is not working, but this is the theory. Right.
So
oats yogurt, coffee.
You need fiber. Everybody neglects fiber.
Oh, bro, yeah. Dude, carbs, slow release carbs throughout the day, bro. I'm on your vibe, bro. Don't worry about it.
You're
I got
in good
it.
shape.
Cool, yeah.
So I do that. Then I will come home from working out. The nice thing is you can just sort of shower at the gym, which is like, then you're ready.
Right.
So then you come home and you don't have to worry about like, because the only thing about working out is it's all the
sweat
time around it.
Oh, yes.
Right? It's the hour to get there.
Yep.
It's not the doing it that everybody hates.
It's the showering.
It's the shower after, changing. And then you're tired, and then you're like trying to motivate yourself to be like, oh, what do I do now? So this is good. I just come home and then I write. I'll try to write for like at least 45 minutes, but if I'm feeling it, I'll go longer, basically. So if I'm really working on a joke, I'll have something. And I just have like a bunch of jokes I've done before or I've tried or like ideas of stuff I want to talk about. They're not funny yet, but I'll just try to explore that idea with a comedic mind and see if I can come up with something that might work. And then when the jokes are in their like mid phase, like I've written them, but I've never tried them on stage, they kind of are sitting in like a joke magazine. And so anytime I get stage time, because the problem is, in Vancouver, it was the opposite. I had too much stage time, not enough new stuff. Whereas down there, I went from doing like 12 shows a week when I lived here.
12 shows a week?
Yeah.
Damn.
I would try to do as many as I could. I mean, I've been back in Vancouver since Sunday, and I've done 5 shows already. And I'm doing 2 tonight, and then I'll do 1 tomorrow and 1 Saturday. And so...
Sorry, what time are your shows tonight? I know this is not important.
Oh, at 9.
Nice. 9 and?
9, and then I'll go to there's an open mic at the Yuck Yucks that kind of starts at 8 and goes till... Whenever. Cool. So I can always show up.
Cool. Just selfishly for me, I know it's like just totally no value for anyone listening.
Yeah. No, if you want to do comedy, if you want to see like brand new stuff and like crazy people off the street,
I like it.
Yuck Yucks open mic on Thursday nights is actually great. It's like a show up, go up kind of thing. So like anybody who shows up, it's not booked in advance. Like you just show up and write your name on a list.
Shit.
And then they put you up. And so you have like,
oh my gosh.
And I love it. Like I love way more than I love people who are like heavily researched comedy and like think they've got it figured out. I mean, that's fun to watch, but they're kind of all the same.
Okay.
I love watching people who are just like completely crazy. Like the last time they saw stand-up comedy was Bobcat Goldthwait on Letterman. And they're like, that's for me. And like no one knows what they've been doing for the past 20 years. Yeah. They've been living in a field, and then they just show up at an open mic and they're like, here's my idea of comedy, and everybody's like, holy shit, this is insane. There's something so pure. I love the idea of that. I'm just like, this is what I think's funny. And I'm like, well, that's completely insane.
And you learn from them. Ivan walks up to them and he's like, so what's your process? And he's like, fucking mushrooms.
What do you do, buddy? I eat grubs.
I need to get like that. I talk to the worms in my food and they tell me jokes.
Yeah.
And I go up and reiterate them. So as a comedian, when you actually like, you go to the gym, you get your sweat on, you come back and you're like, all right, cool. Got my notepad and even when people journal, they'll talk about their day or they'll talk about some shit like that, or they'll talk about their goals or some shit. If you're like coming out, all right, like let's be funny and create things on a piece of paper. Where does your mind go? How do you even start that?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. And it really is like you end up staring at a blank page for a long time.
Oh God.
And so one thing that I sort of figured out that works for me, I don't know if it works for other people, is just start typing. Just type words, gibberish, it doesn't matter. And eventually you can hook onto something and you'll be surprised how quickly stuff will start to become coherent.
Nice.
And, you'll just, if you can't think of proper things like cohesive thoughts, just write words. And one of those words will spring you into a cohesive thought. Right? So just write whatever words come to mind, look around the room or whatever.
Yeah.
And then also on top of that, if you're really struggling, they have these books and websites and whatever of things called writing prompts. So it's basically like, I have a book of writing prompts. You just open it up and it has like, write about something that was scary. And so then you're like, here's the time I was scared. Nice. And then you've got something started. Whether or not that's funny or not, it doesn't matter. But hopefully within that story, I'll be able to make an observation about something, and then that would bring me into a bit, or a joke.
You're super observational in your style of comedy, right? I mean, that's
kind of my thing. I'm not really political or current events. So I mean, that's why my process is so much different than I think a lot of other comics. Like other comics will kind of go on Twitter and just like see what's up with the day, look at what's trending, and then try to be the first one
to crack a joke
off. Which to me, it sounds like it's so much harder. It's like playing Jackpot. You know that game where they like call out the points and then they throw the football and then like whoever catches it
gets all the points.
And it's just like, so everybody's shoving each other out of the way to try to get that one good joke, that one football of the day. Whereas like, I'll just go and I'm going to play my own game.
Yeah, I'm going to throw the football to myself and catch it. And eventually I'll come up with something there.
Yeah.
But it's different like as you move, I guess, for instance, you have some material that works in Canada. And Canadians are totally different. Like you can't go back down to LA and like talk about umbrellas in the snow. Like you know, like you can't.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a few bits I've had to leave behind, but I mean I'm in a point right now where I need to be creating anyway. Right. So that's kind of where I'm at in my process or journey, I guess, is like I'm in a real recreation phase. So I'm probably not going to be doing anything big. I mean, I got a tour coming up in the fall, but that's good because that's like, that's creative. That's getting on stage. So that's where I can refine. So I'll be doing 20 minutes a night all across Canada on like a 30 city tour. And so,
just for laughs.
Yeah. So that's really cool because I can then by the end of that tour, that 20-minute set will be airtight.
Sure.
Should be really good. And it won't be jokes I've done before, with the exception of maybe a few of my Canada-only jokes, because this is the only time I get to do them. And so, I'll get to do that, and then I'm hoping by the end of this year or early next year, I'll have enough material to put together another album.
Oh, exciting. So, when are you going to jump from albums to, like, hi, Netflix?
That's kind of, I mean, I've done a half-hour Netflix special for the Comedians of the World, and so that part of that deal was that, like, I have a relationship with them now, and so if I have a new special, I can sort of pitch to them what the
concept is, or how does that work? How do you pitch how does that work?
I would send them the material, I think, maybe they would get you to do a video of the set and then send it to them, and then they'll come watch it. So this is the nice thing about being in LA.
Ooh.
I would get a headline spot at a club there, and then I would invite the executives to come down. Whether or not they show up, I mean, this is all it's I would get my manager to invite them, and then they would probably send somebody who works for
represents them.
Their assistant. My manager's assistant would talk to their assistant, and they would both CC me on an email.
Holy fuck!
Of them not being allowed to come.
Do it. Sorry, Ivan. It's not going to work out. Call us in a couple years.
We're busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the idea. So you kind of pitch them your set.
Yeah.
What it is, and I mean it would be based on the success of my previous special, which you don't really know. Only Netflix knows how many people have watched my special.
So they don't give you any data on that at all?
They don't give numbers.
These fuckers.
But I kind of like it.
What?
Because it lets you don't become obsessed with the likes,
Right.
It's like anybody who works, you guys work in Instagram, you understand.
We work in Instagram.
Staring at that fucking number.
Sure.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, I like it.
You're in that world.
I like it, yeah.
You get it.
Digital content, yeah.
Digital content, yeah. So people become and I think that it's kind of funny because like Instagram is now talking about getting rid of likes.
Right, and they have I don't know. Do you have likes? No? You don't have likes? Kev, you have likes? Kev's liking right now. Don't worry about it. Kev, you have any likes on your phone? Like, do you see likes still?
From Instagram?
Yeah, from Instagram.
I do sometimes.
But sometimes
I still see likes.
They only show up on my computer.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're coming for us.
Yeah, I think it's like it created a real weird sort of economy, like the influencer economy.
Right.
That sort of showed up. And then it's funny how the companies they could just delete it in 1 second by just going like, we don't show your numbers anymore.
Yeah.
We don't show your followers.
See ya.
We don't show your likes. It's all us.
And we have all the data, but they're still collecting the data.
Yeah.
So that's what drives me nuts is like, that data is like so powerful in terms of what you can do with it.
And they're starting to understand that it's a commodity. So
absolutely.
Why would you show it to everybody for free?
Yeah.
It'd be like if NBC in the 90s was like, here's all of our shows' ratings while they're on. Like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
This era that we've just lived through.
Yeah.
And I think we'll kind of shift. I mean, the internet is going to slowly shift back to, I think, some form of the way television was.
What?
In like, I mean, they tried it so much with like net neutrality, right? Like they wanted to make it so that websites were network based. But I mean, look at it now. The streaming wars is like what we're living through right now.
Right.
Which is kind of like the late night wars.
Disney's
or
fucking
the network
eating up
wars.
everyone. And
yeah, intellectual property is like one of the biggest commodities.
Right.
IP. So like, and Disney now owns everything. They got Star Wars, Marvel, and The Simpsons. Like, what else can they take?
Is there even other things on television? I don't know.
There's nothing from our childhoods.
Yeah,
that
we don't
they
need
own.
that. Yeah, like, oh my god.
If they could get Nintendo, if they could get like Mario.
Oh my gosh.
And Zelda and stuff.
Who owns
Pokemon?
Who owns Nintendo? Does Nintendo just know?
Nintendo owns themselves, and they own Pokemon, which was a huge acquisition for them.
Big time.
Yeah.
Oh, was that before Pokemon Go?
Yeah. Oh, way before.
Oh, nice.
Like it was when Pokemon was on Game Boy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So they've been making a mint.
These guys are killing it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So how it's going to become? So it's about intellectual property, but you said that the internet is going to become more like how TV and radio was with channels.
I think maybe. I mean, it already is really with
Right.
Facebook and. But the thing is it's so interesting the way that nobody really goes to. The internet is sort of like a TV with way too many channels right now.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because it's just like nobody's actually going to a website. Like, I used to work in a call center in like the early 2000s, and that was when you would go to like Dig or Reddit or like. There were these websites where it would be like, this is the interesting places to go on the internet today, and look at this.
Wow.
And then you would like basically like look at this video of a guy, and nothing was like YouTube now is all in one place, and then you have YouTube channels and you have YouTube content people, and then they release stuff and people just subscribe, and everything kind of became so much more streamlined now. I think that it's like interesting to watch where that's going in terms of like everybody's media is going to become so personalized that you just we already live in a bubble in terms of like news and the people we interact with, but I feel like maybe it'll kind of become that. I don't even know. It's interesting to think about. I'm sure there's a Black Mirror episode about it.
Of course.
I haven't watched
or
it.
It's in production right now.
Yeah.
Or Facebook shut it down.
Yeah. But it's funny they listen to people talk about the algorithm as though it is a sentient being.
A god.
Yeah, or some sort of deity.
We must do this
Yeah.
for the algorithm.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fool the algorithm. If you can figure out the algorithm, you can get whatever you want.
I need to post every day for the
Yeah,
algorithm.
the algorithm is like the Da Vinci Code. Whatever the algorithm wants, people do
Holy
it.
shit. That is exactly what it is. The algorithm is the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's people that are like rising up and being like, have you heard of minds.com?
No.
Yeah, it's an open source social network. Basically, they show their code and they show their algorithms and they show how you pop up on people's feeds, what you need to do to get on people's feeds,
that's
et cetera,
cool.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
There's like probably like 1 million people on it, like 900,000 people on it. Like it's pretty.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty empty.
Yeah.
In comparison, there's like billions on Facebook.
Compared to Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook did it. They beat porn. I don't know how they did it.
They beat porn.
They were the first website to overtake pornography on the internet.
fuck.
I remember that was like a big deal. Like,
That should be on their fucking ads.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my gosh. Facebook, we beat porn.
we did it.
Damn. And then Instagram beat porn probably 3 times over. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy. How do you position yourself within all this? Like, you obviously have a manager, and how does, like, when you try to go, for instance, when you produce your next album,
Yeah.
what does a promo run look like digitally? Because I know you can go out to the clubs, you can go on tour and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
but
how do you
the digital
promo?
is so much more important now. And
Right.
so I would hire a publicist. They know. I don't really know.
Really?
But I assume you get on just like, there's a few key podcasts that you could try to get on. Like if you got on Joe Rogan's podcast,
You're
that's
going.
huge.
Yeah, that's
You're
monstrous.
going. Joe Rogan's podcast is kind of, I think, the closest thing we have now to the Tonight Show in the 90s, like Johnny Carson.
Absolutely.
Like if you were on Carson, that was like you're a movie
You've made
star.
it. You're done. And you can book any gig anywhere.
Yeah, and so I think Rogan's podcast is sort of like that now.
Yeah.
If you get on there.
Are you making calls? Are you making calls to Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I want them to bring me on to talk about dinosaurs, even though I'm not qualified. But it's been a topic that I've talked about or learned about a lot.
Oh my gosh, really?
Or just science in general. I don't know.
You know what? I could have guessed, but yeah,
I'm very interested in science. That's the only thing I research purely for my own knowledge and not to laugh at.
Who, in your perspective, like who are some of the other podcasts down south that are like, those are the ones, those are the late nights now?
I think the Cumtown guys are pretty huge. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people sort of within the Rogan universe.
Right.
There's
the
like
Ben Shapiro's,
yeah.
the Chris Diaz. No, it's not in there. Who else is in there? The Joey Diaz.
Yeah.
Bill Burr.
Yeah, Bill Burr, like the Monday morning. I mean, he doesn't have guests, but if he kind of recommends you.
How do you feel about that Monday morning podcast? Do you listen to it at all?
No, I've heard like clips. Like whenever he has like a really good story,
right?
Like because he's had some hilarious stories on
sure.
there, and I'll go and listen to that. But I don't listen to it regularly. I have trouble listening to too much of any. Like I love all these comics, like Bill Burr and Brian Regan, but if I listen to them too much, I just start sounding like them.
Right.
And so I can't do that.
See, I do that. Like I'll start sounding like you in the next 15 minutes. No, I'm super serious. Like I'll like, and when I talk to someone, I like analyze their semantics and their like linguistic fucking architecture and how they go about their shit. And then my brain just automatically goes. Like if we had someone with an Aussie accent on it, like by the end of it, I was like, hey mate, how you doing? Like I appreciate y'all. And I was like, what the fuck?
Well, and I'm such a like, I have to be so amorphous now in my diction because it's like I'm trying to break into America and I don't want to sound too Canadian or they'll spot you and they get weirded out by it. I was doing a thing the other day and I said against. I didn't realize no one in America says against. So I was like, what do you have against? I think somebody was talking about something. And I was like, what do you have against this thing? And they're like, against? What did you say? And I was like, what? Is that a Canadianism? They're like, haha, yeah.
Got you, fucker.
We don't say that here. And I was like, shit.
Yeah. How do they say it?
I don't know. They never told me. I was like, what should I be saying? Against?
Against.
I think they say against. Against. He's
against the president.
Yeah.
Yeah, soda, pop.
Yeah,
beanie,
I have to say soda now. Freeway, Parkade got me. What? They don't say Parkade.
What do they say?
Parking garage.
Oh, that's
if you say Parkade, they don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's
the thing that's so funny.
I have a parking garage in my house.
Yeah. Like if you say Parkade, even to somebody who's never heard it before, they can put it together.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, probably some sort of parking structure. Yeah. But someone asked me where I parked, and I was like, in the Parkade. And they're like, the what? What did you?
You fucking imbecile.
Yeah.
Go back to Germany.
Yeah.
He's definitely a Nazi. Yeah, I definitely agree with you in that the podcasting scene has like overtaken that. And I still think we're at the tip of the iceberg, like honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to see where media goes because nobody knows what's going to happen. It's kind of like the Wild West.
It's totally the Wild West. And we're in the space and we're still like, is anybody here? Like, it's just like, have you been on other podcasts in Canada?
Yeah.
Where have you gone? Can I talk to them?
Stop Podcasting Yourself, I think, is one of the biggest ones.
That's right. Yeah,
and
for
they're
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
And it's such a weird thing of like learning how to hit that market, how to make that jump. Because like even Netflix, I was like, oh, this will be huge for sure. And it was awesome. And a lot of people saw it. But
well, you don't know that.
People didn't really.
Because they didn't give you numbers.
Yeah. I mean, like, people saw it just from the interactions that I've had. People that have told me, like, I saw it and I liked it. But it's like, still didn't result in I thought it was going to be, you know, like I'll get 10,000 Instagram followers. It's like, no, I got like 1,000, a couple thousand, because, and rightfully so, because like, you know, Instagram people want content. They're not going to follow me just to follow me.
Right.
They want me to put out. So you look at the kind of thing that a lot of comics are doing right now is making videos.
Skits.
You make a 30-second clip of your stand-up with subtitles so people can watch it without sound.
Yeah.
And those are going huge.
Right.
There's a guy a friend of a friend, Sam Morrill. He's like a hilarious comic. He's one of the New York Cellar comics.
Okay.
And he went from like, I think 20,000 to like over 100,000 followers just from doing these videos. Because he was doing them, he was doing the jackpot game. He was doing them about current events, local stuff, which, I mean, maybe I could do, but it's like, I've never been good at that. That's never been a skill I've had.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I worked on a political TV show for a bit.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, I just kind of felt like I was making the same joke other people are making.
Right.
You really end up running across, I mean, and you talk to people from like late night. There was a whole lawsuit with Conan this year.
Oh, wow.
About like Twitter and how people were like, you're stealing our jokes. But it was like, you know, people would like ask like, oh, how's that lawsuit going about you stealing that person's joke from Twitter? It was like, which one? Because people will sue late night all the time for saying something that they said on and because Twitter has the timestamp, right?
In 2011.
So they're like, I said this 2 weeks ago, and you're doing it tonight in your monologue. You owe me money. And it's like,
what's up with that?
Listen, there's only so many things
to talk about
and to joke about, and especially if the joke is about like a specific topic.
Yeah.
That's like going out there being like, I was the first one to say Trump is orange. Yeah. Therefore, everybody else that says Trump's orange owes me money.
If you say Trump and toupee in the same fucking sentence, I'm gonna need 100,000 from you today.
Yeah, it's such a weird. We're in that world too, because I mean, going back to intellectual property, it's like, who owns these jokes? Who owns these ideas? And it's like, how deep do you get into an examination of something before it becomes your joke, before it becomes your own thing? Because it's like, even in my Netflix special, there are a couple of jokes I do that I didn't realize until after I'd filmed it, similar to some other comedians.
Oh, no.
And not like the same word for word, but like they're just about the same thing.
Right.
And so then it's like, well, nobody who knows anything about comedy or who does comedy at the level that I do it would think that this is stolen or would even think that they're the same joke. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do the joke if I was on a show with them and they did theirs, because it's like kind of the same topic. But it's, you know, that's another weird part of it too, because you have people online attacking you, being like, you're a joke thief. And I'm like, yeah, I stole a joke and did it on Netflix. That's how fucking dumb I am. Yeah, like I did comedy for 15 years. You
fucking prick.
And I got to Netflix and I went, here's an idea. I'll steal a joke off Bill Burr's 2010 album and do it in my fucking special.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that'll work. But then like so how big do you extrapolate that idea? Like, oh, Ivan talked about race, that fucking white guy. You know, like you can't.
I know, and that's the weird thing, is it's like, there's always going to be critics online, and that's the one thing that I've sort of started to realize in having this kind of international exposure now. There's going to be assholes, and I can't listen to them. Yeah. I have to just let them go. Yeah. And also, most of them are probably wannabe comics.
Of course.
Are criticizing me because I'm doing what they wish they were doing.
And that's welcome to the internet, my friend. It's here to stay.
Yeah. That's part of it. Well, it's also very funny too, because it's like, I love looking at people who are like talking about like the bullying that goes on Twitter and like the stuff people say to each other on the internet. And it's only now they're like, we really need to do something about this. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. I've been playing online video games since 2001.
Yeah, bro. You know the first time I called a noob?
Yeah, that's where it started.
Fucking hurt.
You really want to get to the bottom of this? It's not Reddit or Twitter. Those are very new.
Go to fucking World of Warcraft, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Go look at the people playing StarCraft or like Diablo 2. That's when... Yeah. All the insults. They didn't even bleep swears back then.
You want to fucking see racism, bro? Okay.
Yeah.
Go play Halo online.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. Somebody thought it was a good idea to just give everybody a headset that they could just talk to everyone.
Everyone in the channel.
Just strangers. And yeah, both teams.
Yeah, and this fucking guy's eating a Subway. Like, fuck that guy. I don't care what skin color he is.
Yeah, exactly.
We can all get behind that.
Exactly.
And that is unity, my friend.
There's nothing more hateful than like the world of online video gaming.
Savage.
That's the real belly of like full-on Asperger's, horrible, like they hate you.
Yes.
And I know because I'm one of them.
Do you game? You really game?
Yeah, and I have stopped now because I'm not good enough to be competitive.
You just don't game enough.
I know. I'd have to like quit comedy and devote my time.
The fucking worst, dude. I've gone through this exact thought process. Like I'm super competitive, and I love winning.
Yeah, so do I.
And I can't. And I love gaming. I do, but I don't game at all because when I try a game, I won't be good. I won't be the best at it right away. And I'm like, hey, what are my options? I'm like, all right, well, quit life.
Yeah.
And become great at this game, or just don't play the game. And I'm like, well, this is what adulthood is like, and I'm dying inside.
Yeah, like I got really into like first person shooter, like PC, where it's like I had the point I was like I bought like a special mouse pad and a mouse, and I was dialing in I had a program to help me figure out the exact sensitivity that I needed and like where my arm needs to be. There's like drills you can do. All that stuff to be like, I want to be the best at this. And then I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, hold on, wait. Yeah.
This isn't even, it's not fun most of the time because you're at such a high level of competitive. Also, everybody's on Adderall, so I'm never going to beat them.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I've just been away from this world for so long. I haven't even thought about all like the competitive advantage things that like I see in other places in the world. Like, oh yeah, gamers do that too. Like Adderall, for instance. Yeah. Like
I used to watch. Like I got into the world of professional gaming again, like early on before esports is now. It's like $1 billion
you were like
industry.
Serious.
Well, no, I wasn't, but I used to watch. I used to watch the like Street Fighter tournaments way back in like 2005. Wow. They would do this thing called Evo, and it's been going on for a long time. And it was a worldwide Street Fighter tournament, and they would rent a. It's now like a global conglomerate. It's every fighting game, but at the time that it started, it was like PlayStation 1. Street Fighter Third Strike.
Fuck yeah, I had that shit.
Yeah, it was great. And so you would watch these tournaments, and it was fun. It was, I would get my buddies together and we would watch it. And then I continued to watch it throughout like end of high school and then sort of afterwards. But even back then, this is like 2006, I was like,
damn.
What are they on? Because they're obviously on something.
Yeah.
And they're, it's this world of like, it's not baseball. I mean, if they can't even deal with steroids in baseball, which is like, it's been around since the 1800s, and everybody's going through with a fine-tooth comb. I'm like, imagine the scandal that will inevitably come out in the world of like esports on what these guys are on.
Ridiculous.
I'm sure they're all on at least Ritalin or Adderall, but probably methamphetamine and just like...
Oh my gosh.
Because there's no drug test. It doesn't matter. All you need is something that just makes you focus, not blink and click fast.
Oh my gosh. This is such a weird world. Holy crap. In 2006... And you were into this stuff.
Well, because I was because they show the screen and then they show the player. And like certain guys are like, they're really into it. And you can tell they're like being human. But there was this one guy who was like unstoppable. His name's Daigo Umehara.
Oh my God.
And he was actually so good that Capcom used to get him to come in. When they made a new Street Fighter game, he would play Ryu and Ken to make sure they felt right.
This is legendary.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so he's amazing. And I'm not saying he's on drugs, but this is what made me think about it, was that he was so focused and still...
That he could be on drugs.
That I was like...
Are you on drugs?
This guy seems a lot... Or he's just, But then it was like, even if he isn't, I was like, but I could be. If I wanted to be like that, I would need drugs. Like, there's no way I'm going to sit that still and my hands are going to move that fast.
Yeah, super crazy. I want everyone... I think we should have direct contrast, like the natural Olympics or like the natural esports league or like the natural video gaming, and then like to the nines.
Yeah,
bro.
Whatever
like,
drugs you
want. If you want to do it, like fucking do it.
Super
Like,
soldiers.
Dude, I'm here for fucking performance, bro. Like I want to see you leap fucking 15 meters at least.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see that shit fly through the air. Like,
let's push the limits of the human body.
Yeah,
I want Ivan Drago. I want everybody to be Ivan Drago.
Yes, I need that. I need that. So if you're not doing that, you're losing. Because like honestly, it's like we all do human enhancement in some way, shape, or form. I went to the sauna this morning. That's human enhancement. That's like we're like even going to the gym.
Yeah.
Like so in a way, because that's what steroids do is they help you recover faster. Yeah. Right. And so why don't we just going to the gym? That you're just going to the gym more. That's all you're doing. So why don't we just cut everyone out? Just no one goes to the gym. Who rolls out of bed and fucking runs this triathlon?
Yeah, nobody does any cardio.
Yeah, and fucking go do it.
You just pull a bunch of people like shut-ins.
Yeah, exactly.
Do a marathon. Yeah. They would die. They would all die.
Yeah, but fucking, we've been watching people die since the Romans, bro. It's entertaining. I maintain that shit.
True.
No, come on. Welcome to the film industry. Anyway, so if you're not super into gaming, like I'm always curious. So you have this day, this life where you're like, hey, if you're on the road, you're gonna go do a morning show. You do a little bit of promo, and then you have 12 hours or 10 hours or some shit like that. And then you're going to go to the comedy club and you do your set, and then you're on a plane and you're out. If you're home, it's probably something similar, right?
Yeah.
So within that, it's like, you said you're interested in science, but like, how do you fill 10 hours of your day?
Yeah. I'll watch documentaries. I'll listen to podcasts. I will read.
Dude.
Or if I used to just play video games all the time.
Really?
And I'm now having to be like, I'm going to do nothing.
That's like when you started as a comic?
Yeah. And like, thank God when I go on the road, it's like, I can't.
Well, I played basketball and bring my Xbox on the road all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This has been done, my
Well,
friend.
I don't know how to hook it up to a hotel TV.
Oh my God, HDMIs are simple. Oh my God, Ivan.
Don't tell me I can do this.
Jesus Christ.
No,
they have Bluetooth now. Like, I mean, okay.
God, you're going to ruin my career.
Yeah.
Next album, 2025.
I'm taking a break.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to, it's like anything you can do to kind of keep the creative spark. And I've just noticed that like video games have always been a part of my life. And so I don't think I'll ever quit completely. Just like anything, it's like, I think it's crazy to me how we live in a kind of eliminationist culture where people just love giving stuff up forever. You have people that are like sober November. No nut November. Just like people do stuff where they're like, I'm going to take this thing I do and I'm going to not do it ever again.
To the nines.
Yeah. And it's like, just figure out a life where you do a little bit of the things you like, but don't overindulge.
Yeah.
And also do some stuff that you don't like doing that's good for you.
Yes.
That's kind of the secret to humanity. But everybody does these like, we're in such a crash culture of like keto. It's like no sugar.
No carbs.
No carbs. Ever.
No nothing.
And then, you have one piece of bread, and then you accidentally gain 30 pounds.
And you're like, fuck it, I'm gone. I can never do a single.
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if a vegan fucking had a steak. It'd be over for them. You're done.
They like barf and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. But I like the whole, like, taste a little bit of this, taste a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Even in, like, because you have to understand, like, what certain things are about. Like, you have to understand... Like, go vegetarian for a while. Go vegan for a while. Like, I don't know.
See if it works for you.
Go to the gym or don't ever. Like, that's cool, too.
I do love that, too. I think that life should always be a series of scientific experiments to reach your maximum potential.
Oh, my gosh.
So, like, whatever you do...
Dude, I did not expect to hear that coming out of your mouth right now, but fuck yeah.
Whatever you do to make yourself better than you were yesterday, figure it out. And if you do something that makes you worse, don't do that.
Don't do that. It's really quite simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, so comedians basically have like the best job in the entire world, basically.
Well,
like successful comedians.
Yeah.
Of moderate success.
But it's an immense amount of stress and pressure, and especially now in a time when the desire for content to be delivered is higher than ever.
Right.
I mean, in the 90s, Chris Rock had 5 years between specials, right? He had 5 years between Bring the Pain and Bigger and Blacker, which are two of the best stand-up specials ever made.
Yeah.
But he still had that time, and you have the luxury of like, you can tour your act for 5 years,
That's
and people aren't going to
crazy.
see it because they don't go online and watch the joke till they hate it.
Right.
The only time they see it is when you tell it.
Yeah.
And so even if you do a joke you did 2 years ago, people are okay with it because they haven't heard it in 2 years.
Yeah.
But because everybody's releasing albums, because everybody's material is so readily available, you now have to, if you go to a city that you've been to before, you better have at least 50% new stuff.
Yeah.
And so the amount of stress, and then also compound that on top of the fact that there are more comedians than there have ever been talking about things. It's not like there's more things. The human experience hasn't shifted.
Quadrupled.
Yeah. I mean, we've got some new genders. That's pretty good.
That's a good basis.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like this, but it's like the amount of things to talk about.
Right.
And it's also, there's a catalog of everything that's been talked about since comedy began.
It's all recorded.
And it's all recorded. And so you'll reach a point where inevitably any joke, someone can just go like, let's go back here. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could do that with just The Simpsons.
Oh, for sure.
Like any interaction between two people, any event that's happening in the world, you could find a Simpsons joke or episode.
It's like the 9/11 thing, right? It's like, The Simpsons predicted 9/11. It's like, well, The Simpsons have done 100 fucking seasons.
Yeah.
And so it's like they have pretty much recreated any situation that could happen in a house or in a small town ever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they predicted President Trump. I mean, it's like, it was a joke, but it happened.
Holy shit, they did. Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that online and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But even within that, I get it's super competitive, but it's like, dude, you have a life that people are like, I just want more time. I just want more time.
Yeah, you do have, if you're not rich in money, you're rich in time.
And that's the best thing to be rich in, period.
Yeah. It's great.
Is that so how old are you now?
33.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, shit. What skincare products do you use?
Genetics.
Okay, I'm gonna call my guy God and try to fucking figure that one out for the next time around. Jesus. White guys usually age terribly. You're doing great. Anyways.
Well, thank you.
I forgot where the fuck I was going with that. Oh yeah, that's right. You've been doing this for so long. Do you want your life to continually go this way? Are you happy with the structure of this shit? Obviously you're seeing continued success, but do you ever oh man, I just want to fucking be super busy for a while?
Yeah, and that will happen. I mean, that comes in spurts. Right now I am super busy.
Right.
I'm getting ready for Montreal just for laughs in a week.
Yeah.
And so all day I've been listening to sets from last night, figuring out what needs to change, and then I'm going to do those sets tonight, and then you're just doing that. You're also arranging. The other part of your life that gets easier as you get more successful, because you can pass it off to a manager or an agent, is the administrative side of comedy, which is very annoying. And so when you first go pro, or you quit your day job or whatever to do it, it's so you spend, and it's annoying because it can mess with your flow. So in my day of get up, exercise, same breakfast, come home, right? Within all of that, at any point, my phone could ring, I could get a message, or I could get an email that's you got to deal with this right now.
Right.
There's an audition, or there's a thing I need you to say yes to. We have a booking, and so you need to get these flights done and send them here, or this appointment is shifting, you have to cancel that. So it's you have meetings, and those kinds of things are. That's why I'm so happy that I'm a comedian and not an actor, because an actor is it's such a crazy life, because you're just living your life, and then in the middle of the day you'll get a phone call that's hey, you have an audition tomorrow, and everything you were going to do tonight has to get canceled because you need to spend literally all night memorizing these 7 pages. Yeah. Become this person. I mean, what I do, which is not healthy, is every time I get an audition, I read it and then convince myself that it sucks and I'm never going to get it.
Oh my God.
And then I get viscerally angry that I was even given the opportunity for this audition.
Oh my gosh.
And then I talk myself out of that mindset and back into the fact that it might be good.
Yeah.
And then
I could get it. Why don't you go down that route more? So many comedians are heavy into the acting game.
Well, I do, but it's I don't have the acting. There's so many funnier people that are much better actors than I am.
Right. How do you, I don't understand what a good actor is. Like, I understand theoretically, but like you saying like, you're a chameleon. You can walk into any room and get along with anyone. You can put in any face, any tone. You can read a room. Your emotional intelligence is great. Like, you seem like you would be a phenomenal actor. So you're saying, oh, I'm not that great of an actor. It's like, well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, technical things within acting that I am not aware of. Like the way things are written. There's certain things that read a certain way, or like all these other like, there's a lot of like weird rules where it's
right.
This scene this type of scene you always look here, or you do this, or you don't have this. I don't know. I'm sure within like I could take classes,
but you're like fuck that
and stuff like that.
You just don't want to. You just love comedy.
Well, I would love to act in something if the character is me.
Right. So if you could play yourself,
then I can do that very easily.
Right. So you'd love to act if you didn't have to act.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Sick.
Exactly.
I like it. So changing gears here a little bit, I'm super curious. We have a lot of people that are, we've had like Ironmans on, and we've had, high performance athletes and super high performance like business people. And there's a couple common themes, man. And one of them, which I'm really interested in, is how you get into like a flow state going on stage, because it's very different than any other performance ground. Like in a sense of like, if you're an athlete, you're going onto a court, you're going onto a pitch. You are very controlled in your environment. You can shut it. Like, for instance, if an athlete gets to arena and they don't talk to anybody, like, well, they're getting in the zone. Like, fuck off, right?
Yeah.
A comedian walks into a club, is, oh, hey, what's going on? What's up? Are you like, so you have to constantly be interacting and working with other people. And then all of a sudden, just like, hey, okay, you're on stage. It's like, okay, boom, here we go. How do you turn that on?
I take a little bit of time before I go up. Like and I'm always in a bit of a mindset, like it'll be like on a slow burn, like it's coming up to a simmer for like about an hour before the show.
Right.
So I'll be a different person. I have to say all the time to my fiance, I have to remind her that she'll be like, you're acting weird. I'm like, yeah, I have a show tonight. She's like, oh yeah. Like she forgets all the time.
Wow.
Because it's such a slow, it just starts to occupy a piece of my brain.
Right.
Like, what am I going to talk about tonight? How am I going to do it? And then I start going through the lines of like, is it going to go well? And just sort of getting into that mindset. And then once I'm at the club, at the location, at the show, like ready to go on, I'm up next. So if I'm up in like 3 minutes, like when the comic ahead of me is wrapping up, that's when I'll do like a last final check through of everything I'm going to say. I go through the transitions so that I know how to get from one joke to the other. And that way, if I go off topic, I've got the transitions sort of memorized so I can get back. Because you never know what's going to happen, right? Somebody could talk, a joke could go off the rails. A server could drop a glass, people could heckle.
Yeah.
And so that'll take you off. And I want to be able to just go right back into what I was going to talk about and find a way to, if ideally, seamlessly go back in.
Course correct.
I mean, you see comics all the time go like, what was I talking about before that crazy thing happened?
Yeah. Ugh.
And that's fine. Like, people don't hate it, but I want people to think that it's like, I actually thought about what I was going to do here tonight. And so I will then, after all the technical stuff is sort of set up, and then ready to go, for the last like minute before I go on, I kind of remind myself that comedy is fun.
Right.
And that I'm here to have a good time.
Right.
And
even though you are working.
To enjoy, because a comedian that's having fun on stage is 1,000 times funnier.
Yeah.
Unless it's their specific style. Like there are comics who are like
pissed,
depressed, or angry, or whatever. But even the angry ones have a little bit of, they
fun. Have
to have that kind of jovial element where they shoot a little side smile or something to let you know that it's like, these are jokes.
It's okay.
This is not a rally.
I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you watch an open mic and you see comics who don't do that. You have the angry comics, but it really does become, it sounds like a rally. Like you're like, oh, you're not. Or the other side of it, you have people that are just like saying things like that. It really becomes, like cheerleading is what they call it in comedy, where you're just saying things people agree with. There isn't necessarily a joke there, or it's not even being delivered in like a fun way.
But people are even a lot of.
But that's very popular right now.
It's very popular right now. I personally don't like it. It seems like a cop out.
They call it clapter.
Clapter, nice.
So it's like you say jokes, but they're actually just statements, reaffirming popular beliefs.
Right. You're like, how about our LGBTQ community?
Yeah. Exactly. Give it up for the troops.
Yeah. Like, okay, great. Yeah.
Because I support the troop. And yay. Yeah, and it's like, that's great. Yeah. But can you tell a joke or be a little bit silly, please?
Yeah. Please, just a little bit.
That's kind of the thing that I've been really working on more and more now is, I mean, even in my Netflix special, I didn't do enough of it because I was too focused on the technical side. And I had a little bit of fun, but definitely not as much as I should have.
Right. Did you have one shot? Did you have one shot at recruiting?
I had two.
Okay.
And the first one was even more stiff. Ooh. And then the second one was a lot looser, but still stiffer than I would have liked.
Right, I see.
So trying to stay loose and fun and at the same time reciting words that you've written exactly as you've written them, timed out correctly. Like it's all very difficult.
Yeah, of course.
So
with the right physical cues.
Yeah. And so trying to sort of line all that up is what I'm trying to do before I go. I mean, it's the same thing with what I imagine a batter goes through when they're in the batter's box, when they've got that, like, I mean, to me, that's the most condensed moment of athleticism, right? Because it's not like other than like, I guess when you're like basketball or hockey, when you like receive the ball, like you get a pass for the puck, you get a pass to you and you've got an opening.
Yeah.
But that baseball, it's like you're trying to manufacture that. So that moment when you're like, I mean, they're throwing a ball at you at 100 miles an hour, and you've got to like just sit there and look at it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like they call time if they take too long to throw the ball, because you can only stay in that extremely focused, ready state where everything, like a coiled spring. And so before I go on, I try to kind of get into that mode of like, so when I come out, I can make sure that everything kind of starts the way that it should. I like the idea of, and it's so hard because it's like, you can't start too fast because sometimes the audience isn't with you yet.
Yeah.
The other thing that's so crazy about all of this is that despite everything technical that's going on, you still have to listen to and change everything based on what the audience is doing. They determine your timing.
Right.
And so that's why it's like you can rehearse the timing, and that's going back to like the practice thing.
Right.
Is it's like you're not really practicing. Like you can recite jokes out loud at home into the mirror, but when you go to the club, they better not sound like you did that.
Of course.
You know, you have to sound like you're in the room talking to the audience. And so the practice you're getting when you practice live is the ability to make those micro adjustments based on what you're getting back from the crowd and playing the energy in a room. I mean, people compare it to anything from like surfing to like being a musical conductor. Like you're basically controlling the energy in a room. And that's the skill you develop as a comic more than on top of everything else, joke writing and whatever. You become kind of hypersensitive to, I mean, Dino is a good example of this. He'll tell you he's a vibe guy, but it's like,
he's such a vibe guy.
He's a vibe guy.
Yeah.
You can feel the vibe in a room. And so like, even if I'm not on stage, like if I'm at a party and I can tell the room is weird, I'll be like, someone needs to fix this.
Yeah. So so that's like, that leads me right into where I wanted to go with this is like, you get like a superpower.
Yeah.
Like outside of this, like what are you good at? Do you have like a talent besides communication and comedy?
Yeah. I mean, making people laugh is the talent, and reading people. So
emotional
understanding. Yeah. But it's kind of weird because sometimes it really falls short. Like my family's kind of on the spectrum. So I have a certain I have elements of, it's kind of a weird mix because like sometimes I can't read people at all, and I'll have to be reminded that like what I'm doing is rude or unacceptable. Like when I was a kid. When I was a kid especially. I've gotten better at it when I was an adult. But certainly when I was a kid, I did things to... Like I would just like go leave a friend's house because a different friend was available.
Oh my gosh.
And then like someone would be like, you know, that was kind of rude. And I was like, what? Is that wrong? I'm done hanging out with you. I would like to hang out with this other person now.
What's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's was very monstrous, but just that's an example of something that like I didn't have the best emotional intelligence as a kid, but I have developed it.
You develop it over time. Yeah.
As a comedian. And definitely as a comedian, you have to develop it to a higher extent than anybody else. So it's that ability. Absolutely. And then also just the ability to read and fix a room. Like the superpower you have as a comic. So that's it.
Like, how do you fix a room?
Well, it's hard because it's like, unless you're speaking in front of them, you can't really do it.
Right. But you have, like, here's the thing, like, you're no longer just like Ivan from around the block, you know? Yeah. It's just like, you now have to go in and it's like, oh, he's here.
Yeah.
You now have to, like, literally, like, be a shining ray of light and be like, you know, have fucking rainbows coming from your belly button to, like, even please anybody.
Well, the power where comedy comes in is whenever you're in a situation that involves public speaking, but not stand-up comedy. Right. So, like, if I was in charge of, like, reading something out in front of a room of people and nobody knew I was a comedian, I would be 1,000% better than anybody else in that room.
Right.
Unless one of them is a comedian. So, like, when you go to, like, a wedding and you see, like, speeches, like, this is an example of, like, hell for a comedian because you're like, well, everything about this is incorrect. Like, people have terrible mic technique. Yeah. People don't know.
They're nervous.
They're looking away. They're moving their hands. All the stuff you've worked so hard to get out of your own, the way that you perform. And so, yeah, I guess that would be where that's like, I think my best skill. I mean, I don't know. That or making stuff up and having people believe me.
Yeah, that's good. Oh my God, yes.
Sounding like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so dinosaurs. But when you go into it, do you have like any, this is like a really weird question. Do you have any like strategies of going into a room and like you feel the room out and you're like, oh, like, okay, something's like, he's acting funny. She's in a weird mood. Like, yeah. How do you go in there and be like, okay, let me just like rearrange this shit?
Yeah, I can definitely diffuse and bring things back to neutral really well. Like, I think that's where my comedy came from. Was like, I was a middle child. And there was a lot of fighting in my house because my parents got a divorce when I was a kid. And so I was always like upset when other people around me were upset. And I just wanted to make everybody... And I think that's like, you know, whatever. Well, I'll talk to a therapist about why that is. But wanting to get people back to this, like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. So... it'll happen naturally for me. That's like sort of one thing that I'm good at that I don't have to think about is like if I'm in a situation where like people start fighting or something happens, I will start saying things that are innocuous or weird just to bring everything back to normal and diffuse the situation with humor.
Right, and that is such a fucking superpower. Like, people can't do that. Changing the vibe of someone, changing the mood of someone, or like just calming interaction. I think Tiffany Haddish said it. She was like, I learned how to be a comic just because everyone was fucking beating people up. Like, yeah. It was, I literally had to go like it was a mess. I had to go in and be like, hey, hey, we're good. All right, let's watch some TV and hang out. Like, you're okay now. Yeah. And that was her like survival technique, right?
Yeah, making people laugh with each other when they've just had like an altercation is very powerful.
Crazy.
And it can bring people back to this sort of neutral place, which is why it kind of upsets me that comedy as a whole has kind of become so divisive. You know, there's a lot of people in comedy that are like creating division, going like, these types of people suck. We hate them. Yeah. Like, I've never really tried to write a joke that was about like a specific and I learned this early on because I used to look at the crowd, I would judge people. Right. I would go like, oh, this table of bros. Yeah. They're going to be dicks. Yeah. I wish they would just get thrown out. And I remember doing this is actually happening to me. I was at a club and there was a table of bros and they were like rowdy. They're doing Jaeger bombs. And I was like, this is going to be a huge problem. Yeah. And then right as I'm about to go on stage, I walk by their table And one of them like pulls me aside and he's like, dude, we saw you at a club last week. We loved you. You're like our favorite comic. We're so stoked to be here, man. And we are really looking forward to your set. Because I, in my mind, was like, there's no way they like me. They're bros. They came here to see.
They don't even know. They think this is a bar.
Yeah, exactly. But I was wrong. And so, I want to be able to just kind of like, that's kind of what, you look at like historically, places where comedy has always been very important. It's always times of like great despair.
Yes.
Right. And it's because it brings people back to that level of like, at least there's laughter.
Yes.
That's something.
Yes.
We can release some endorphins,
Yeah, totally. It's a beautiful thing, man. I honestly think it's the best superpower you could have.
Yeah.
It is a fucking superpower, and I don't care what anyone says. Like, it honestly is. The ability to communicate and make someone laugh or change the mood, or you are literally altering the human experience of another human. That's insane. Like, if you break it down to that level, that is literally the most powerful thing you could do in life.
Yeah. Which is why I really try to take that into account before I go on stage. And that's one of the things I use to make me happy is that I get to think about how it doesn't matter what these people, what kind of day they had. Guarantee they did something more important than I did.
Right.
I perform for like ER nurses and doctors and firefighters. Like, these are all people they're doing teachers. They're doing very important things
in the economy
to help society.
Yes.
And so if they've had a tough day and they feel like shit, then I want to go out there and let them laugh and blow off some steam. And so it's like so crazy to me when comics are like, "Yeah, these fucking people, I hate them. They suck shit."
You're like, what?
And I'm like, well, you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And although sometimes they do suck shit.
Yeah.
So
what's been your worst experience? Like, what's been your biggest bomb moment, or just like heckler, or just like, gosh, kill me now?
I have a story that I've told before, and it's still my least favorite comedy experience. And I was booked to do a corporate gig in a very small town in Saskatchewan. And so small they didn't have anywhere to stay. I had to stay in Saskatoon and then drive 3 hours through the snow to get there. And I don't know what happened. Something I did was wrong, and I haven't figured it out. I think it was because I wore a suit. I had a purple tie. Maybe that was it. Like, I don't know. These guys were like hard. There was a car dealership. It was like a truck dealership in the middle of rural Saskatchewan.
My God.
So last time, I don't know, maybe the last time some guy in a suit came to town, he closed the mill, and they're all upset.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, they decided that they hated me within 5 seconds of me coming up on stage, and there was nothing I could do to change that. I pulled out and this was like, I wasn't new to comedy.
Right.
I wasn't now. Like, I think I could do a few things different now, but it was like, sort of, I'd been headlining for a while.
Right.
And so I did all the tricks you should do. I did a little bit of crowd work. I tried to get people into it. I moved all of my like closing material to the front just to get them on my side. Just like everything good out the gate, whatever I got. Let's get some laughs, get everybody in the mood, and then we'll go from there. Nothing. And it wasn't like heckling bad, or like they just sat and stared at the table and didn't laugh. They just visibly did not enjoy what was happening.
Right.
And so I did my you have to do your full time. I did 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh. 45 minutes of death.
Of nothing, of silence. And then I left, and then the person who booked me, and it's not like I didn't do my act. I did all the stuff I had done on TV.
Yeah.
And so, and it was also that. It's like, there was no excuse for you to not know what I was going to do here tonight.
Right.
All of the material is recorded.
Right.
You can kind of see my vibe.
You can understand how I'm going to move with this.
I never should have been sent out to this gig. I know it's not their fault. They didn't want me. I'm mostly mad at the booking agency for sending me into this. But also at the same time, the way they treated me on that night, I hate them so much that if I ever gain the financial ability, I will go back to that town and buy the building that I performed in, which was the town hall.
Oh my gosh.
And I will bulldoze it.
Oh my fucking gosh.
So that no one else can ever do comedy in that town. I will be like the mayor in Footloose. Your town, comedy's illegal now.
Yeah.
You don't get to have it here.
Done.
You want comedy, you go to the big city.
Jesus.
You come to my turf.
Oh my fuck. Yikes, man. Well, I mean, there's hopefully that experience for 100 good experiences.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've had a lot of great experiences.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
But those are always the experiences that like
stick.
But that's what you have to have those. You have to have every athlete, anybody great has had a moment like that of like, this is the worst and it's terrible.
I'm going to die.
Like, I bet Mookie Betts probably played games where he struck out 20, like he probably went on like when he was in the lower leagues or whatever. It was just like before he figured out how to be the best baseball player ever. Yeah. There were times when he was like, I can't hit. I can't do it. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. It's tough. It's definitely a very tough thing. But I mean, listen, you've been at this, for 10, how long have you been at this?
It'll be 15 years in November.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Congratulations, first off. So like,
thank you.
How you are now, I'm not going to say the pinnacle, but you're pretty high, man. You're pretty high up there. You've done a lot of the names of which you'd say, oh no, yeah, he's on. Like he's done Netflix, Conan, right? Just for Laughs in Canada. I mean, you're touring with Rick Mercer.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty cool.
That's insane. He's iconic.
Yeah,
you're doing shows following fucking Jay Leno, and it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
When on your trajectory, how long did it take you to get past the kind of like open mic starting? Was it like a long, what did the line look like? Was it a lot of nothing and then a hockey stick? Or was it just kind of a gradual build?
Yeah, it's always kind of a gradual build. There's never really these big spikes other than I think maybe when you make the jump from like feature act up to headliner. But even then was like, you have a pretty good 20 minutes. But even when you're featuring, it always takes like you go one past before you're good at the thing you left, if that makes sense, right? If you want to be a really good middle act, you start headlining. Yeah. And then you understand how to, like, this is so funny because it's like everybody wants to headline. But then as soon as you do it, you're like, man, it'd be great to middle. It'd be so much easier. Yeah. And then it's like, everybody wants to MC, but I mean, it's weird because in Canada you MC after you middle, but in the States MC is like the lowest. Yeah. Like you MC before you do anything. Yeah. Which is actually why it's so much better to perform in Canada because the MCs know what they're doing.
They're much better.
They're just better comedians. Yeah. It's actually like a paid spot. Yeah. Whereas down there you have somebody just like doing 5 minutes of street. Like open mic level jokes and then getting your name wrong. Yeah.
Correct. How do people say your name?
But yeah, I don't know. Or just getting your credits wrong.
Okay, fair
enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they can they don't get it wrong. They just forget it. Ivan Canada. I've been introduced as.
Ivan Ontario.
Yeah.
Welcome to the stage. Ivan the Terrible.
Yeah. But it definitely was a slow climb. I mean, there were definitely bumps. Like the first time I did Just for Laughs was a bit of a bump, and then I kind of started to get work from that, and it kind of opened my eyes. And really, it's funny because you go through these periods of like higher work ethic too, where I will sort of be inspired. So like the first time I went to Just for Laughs, it was such an eye opener for me because everybody's there, right? And I saw like Mike Birbiglia do an hour, I saw John Mulaney do an hour, I saw. There's a comic that we don't talk about anymore. He did an hour. Okay. And it was really, really cool. Maria Bamford, I got to see her like all in 1 week. And then you go and you realize that there's so much good comedy out there and that where you are, there's so much further to go. Right. Because you can feel stagnated if you stay in one scene, for sure. And if you don't have access to the people who are like the top of the top
level, yeah.
And so when you get to watch them all, I mean, now you can do it with Netflix, I guess, but it's so different to see it live.
It's different live, yeah, absolutely. I'll watch a huge Netflix special and like get a couple chuckles. Like if I was in that crowd, I would be dying.
Yeah.
100%.
I know. That's the one thing about comedy that people have to understand, and it's making a huge resurgence in the taped medium, but it very much is a live art form, and Absolutely. I think that if you like comedy, like there were several people that I've seen recently that are like, yeah, I watched so much comedy on Netflix, but this was the first time I've ever seen live comedy,
it changes everything. It's not even close to the same thing.
Yeah,
not even close.
Yeah.
So like I said, like whether it's freaking XM or Conan or JUNOs or Netflix or whatever other amazing things you've done, like what do you want? What's next for you? Like, where are you trying to go right now? What are you like, that's the target. This is where I'm trying to go. I got to knock these people out the way.
Yeah. I don't think I have to knock anybody out of the way. I think there's room for a lot of people.
I was trying to get a little clip there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know. There's nobody that I'm coming for. Except for the audience. Yes. I want them to like me. That's kind of the goal, is just to build and expand my audience, however that is. And it is weird because nobody really knows how to do that anymore.
Right.
And so the idea for now is to create the content so that when the audience does arrive, if ever, I've got it. And I'm only going to get better if I write more jokes. That's how you get better. And keep doing the thing.
I'm waiting for some skits, man.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for some skits.
Yeah, I probably want to do some sketch. I would do sketch comedy for sure. I loved I Think You Should Leave. Did you watch that?
No.
On Netflix? It's so funny.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a sketch show. Super short, but amazing.
Sweet, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, and so the ultimate goal for me is I want to sell out theaters, and I want to be able to perform for a crowd that knows who I am and came to see me.
Yeah.
Because I also feel bad when people didn't want to see me.
Yes.
And they have to.
Not a good time.
I don't want to do that.
Not a good time at all. Yeah, I know. There's that feeling when you go to a comedy club and you're like, I can't wait to say this person. Then you have to live through the first two people. And
yeah. Yeah, or like even if you're going to see I'll go see jazz, but sometimes I'll be like, I was really hoping there wouldn't be this many guitars.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted a saxophone.
Fair enough. Well, I can't wait to watch you get there, man. Where do you want to direct people here? You're expanding your audience. Where do we send people? We send our minions.
Please watch my Netflix special.
Please do.
It's
pretty funny.
I'm pretty proud of it.
Yes.
It was really hard to do. So it's on Netflix. Comedians of the World, Canada, episode 2. And don't watch any of the other ones. No, watch all of them. They're all great.
Comedy's great.
And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I don't post on there because I feel like it's a cesspool of hate.
Oh my gosh.
I'll use Twitter to yell at car rental companies once in a while.
Right,
when they wrong me.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably most active on Instagram. That's where if you want to get in touch with me and when I have shows coming up, I'll promote that, and I also will promote stuff on my Facebook fan page too.
I gotta get at you, man. You're not using Instagram the right way. You're using Instagram like a normal person. Stop it.
I know. I need to.
Oh my gosh, it's like a picture with your dog and shit. What kind of stuff is it?
Well, they won't verify me. If I get
that blue check, have you made the call?
Oh, I've been making the call every day, every month since January.
I'll DM whoever needs to. I got you. Okay, now that you can request it, anything you need. Okay, we're gonna send 200 people there right now.
All right,
we're gonna complain to Instagram and get you on there.
Yeah,
likes or not. Anyways, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to come watch your show and see you do your thing live. Watch a ton of your tapes and I'm happy that you're here and you haven't just gone and left and permanently never fuck Canada, fuck Vancouver.
No way. I'm trying to get back here.
Hell yes. Hell yes. And you're inspiring the scene and man, I hope that is there one venue that you want to sell out, or is there something locally that's a milestone for
the
you?
Vogue 2020.
Vogue 2020?
So that the reason why I'm not headlining in Vancouver until then is because I'm hoping to try to do the Vogue Theater in sort of early 2020. So
nice.
If you're in Vancouver, look out for that. Obviously, I will announce it probably on Instagram, hopefully correctly.
Yes. Awesome. Well, man, I appreciate your time so much. And people, if you're listening, go laugh because laughing's good. It'll help you. I promise.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you for your time, bro.
Thank you.
Awesome.